Hey guys, this is Christy from the ADHD Tarot, and today we're doing a weekly collective reading for the week of March 30th through April 5th. So I already pulled my cards and I'm using my Quiet Rebel deck again. So we're going to just go through these pretty quickly. This is going to be posted on the ADHD Tarot. I'm going to live pull the oracle cards that correspond to each of these. So card one is the energy you're entering the week with, and that's the Fool. And we've been getting this a lot in various readings. And I think it's because we're ready for a new thing, right? We're ready for a new chance, a new start. And maybe it's dramatic. Maybe you're going to blow up your life like I did. Maybe you're going to do something totally new. Or maybe you're just doing things that you're already doing in a new way. So this is traditionally seen as a little bit of a reckless card. It's the first card in the deck, which means it's kind of like that beginning point in your journey. But this is telling me, in this context, the free radical is the lettering on the card. And it's not telling you to have a big plan. It's telling you to just dive in and do what you need to do and do it in a way that makes sense for you, but not being afraid of taking that leap and trying new things. Okay. So we got the Fool. Then card two is where to focus your attention this week. I got the Eight of Swords, and that's the Mind Maze. And this is traditionally a card where the person on the card is tied up, everything looks hopeless, she's surrounded by swords, but in reality, she's not trapped as much as she thinks she is. This card is telling you you're not trapped. You're making yourself trapped, okay? And you want to focus your attention on how you're pulling yourself back, how you're keeping yourself tied metaphorically. So it could be habits, it could be ways of thinking, it could be things you're doing on a daily basis. I talked about how I gave up sugar this past week and I felt a lot better because that had been my Eight of Swords moment that was keeping me tied, right? It was something that was not helping me. So this card is telling you this week you want to focus on where you're limiting yourself and then come up with a plan to change it. And so again, we're getting sort of a nice story here with third card is what to release and not carry into the week. It's the security blanket, the Four of Pentacles. So this is that card of the guy who's holding the pentacles. He's basically hoarding. He doesn't feel secure in what he has, so he has this scarcity mindset. And a lot of us get into this trap. So you want to release that. And the way you release that is realizing you're creating a lot of your own limitations and also releasing that need to have comfort all the time. And all of us do this in some way, right? We all want comfort. We all want security. We all want to feel like we have things under control. But the Fool is also telling you, moving forward into this week, you don't have to have things in control. And it's going to be hard. Life is hard. Things are hard. And we have to get used to not having a security blanket that we cling to all the time to make us feel better about that. So sometimes being a little extreme is a good thing. I talked about this on my other Substack. And with ADHD too, even though we all tend to like sort of tiptoe around our own feelings and needs, you might want to consider being a little more extreme, taking that leap, doing that thing, getting rid of those habits that are holding you back and releasing that need for everything to be predictable and comfortable and secure. Because the way you grow isn't having perfect security all the time, it's having that awareness of, I don't need this thing to feel okay. I'm going to go forward anyway. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a backup for each card to just sort of solidify what I'm saying here. I'm going to shut my phone off because it's driving me nuts. Okay. So I'm using the Quiet Rebel Tarot Oracle deck as well. And so we get humor, cosmic joke for the Fool. And this is telling me we can't take everything so seriously. Like, have you ever been with those people who always have a problem? They're always complaining. Everything is life or death. Sometimes you just got to be in on the joke because you don't know where things are going. You don't know what life is going to look like for you until you take that leap. So these work together. You're being told, take that leap, try new things, be a little less serious. You don't have to necessarily know where it's going. What matters is that you're decisive. And then have a sense of humor around it, right? We don't need to be super serious all the time. And then let's see, card 2, I pulled Embrace the Scars Healing. So this to me, together with this, means the way you're going to heal is by seeing through your own nonsense and seeing how you can get out of your own way. So many times we do the opposite. We think to be secure and to be healed, we need to pull back and we need to treat ourselves like we're fragile. That's not what this is saying. It's actually saying the opposite. The way you're going to heal is by seeing where you're limiting yourself and systematically removing those things. So it could be a bad habit you have. It could be, people in your life that are dragging you down. What matters is that you identify it. And then that's when you're going to start to heal and have the life you want. When you learn how to work with these things, get rid of them, and move forward. Healing isn't going to come from, coddling yourself as much as it's going to come from seeing through your own nonsense and doing what you can to change it. And then, third card. Okay. Joy. Okay, Dance in the Rain, joy. So I think this is telling you that in tandem with this, the security, the way to push through that is to have joy and not overthink your security all the time, not overthink, you know, how am I going to do this or do that, or needing to know the answer, right? Or needing comfort. The antidote is joy. And joy can come from doing things you like, it could come from having a good time with your family, spending time with friends. But this is telling you in this context, the way to get through this need for security is to have more joy. It's to have something you enjoy doing or several somethings, pull out that dopamine menu, see what you can do to give yourself a little more joy. And that's how you're going to work with this stuff, because being really harsh isn't always the answer. You do want to hold yourself to a high standard and be more accountable, but you also can't tip into the other direction where you're constantly like beating up on yourself. So there needs to be a balance. And then now I'm doing these. Aha. Okay. So I found this deck the other day and I thought, it'd be kind of cool to do a nice finisher card. And this is the Carolyn Meese archetype cards. I guess I got them years ago. I didn't even remember that I had them until I found them. But I just pulled a card at random and I think it really ties things well. And that's the victim card. So how many of us tend to be a victim for some purpose, for some sense of security? I've done that myself. Okay. We've all done that. We've all used, hard times, or we've all sort of tried to seem like we're victims to get sympathy or to get help. And, the shadow side of this, light attribute, these have light and dark attributes, by the way. Light attribute is it prevents you from letting yourself be victimized or victimizing others. Like if you've been through this and you know what it's like to be a victim, you're less likely to allow that to happen again. But the dark side of that is you can also like keep yourself safe all the time and try to be safe from anything that could hurt you, whether it's a threat or not, right? And shadow attributes include what I just said, playing the victim for positive feedback in the form of pity, also inability to maintain personal boundaries. In the context of this reading, I think what this is saying is you kind of have to stop playing the victim. And everybody has their challenges. We all have struggles. If you're ADHD, neurodivergent, of course you're going to have struggles. Everybody does. Things might be more challenging for you, but the answer is not to constantly make yourself a victim. It's to find ways to work with your unique needs every day and get what you need to get done. And the victim card here is telling me that the big challenge for you this week and possibly even this year is learning how to break out of that victim mentality and start seeing yourself as someone who can succeed. And a lot of us tend to like sink into the victim role in identifying with our labels, whatever labels we have, right? I am this, I'm that, I have this problem, I have that problem. Ultimately, though, you're harming yourself, because if that's all you identify as, you're not going to be able to break out of that cycle. So the answer here is to avoid being such a victim and avoid victimizing yourself, because largely most of us do that. We victimize ourselves by identifying as a victim, and that's how we don't move forward. We could stay in the same place for days or weeks or months or years because we constantly see ourselves as, I'm a victim because XYZ. I can't do this thing because XYZ. So you need to start seeing through your patterns. And I think that's what the story is telling us here. We need to start seeing through the patterns we have in our lives. And, the Fool is telling you this week you want to do things in a different way, do it with some lightheartedness, with some fun, not so serious, not so planned or premeditated. Then you're being told to um, focus your attention on Eight of Swords. What are you holding yourself back on? And the antidote to that is, the healing. You're going to heal yourself by doing that, by figuring out what you're doing and how you're seeing things, what habits are holding you back, and how you can improve them. And then the last card is, again, what to release, not carry into the week. You have the Four of Pentacles and the Joy card, which tells me the way that you're going to release this scarcity mindset is focus more on joy, focus more on fun, and not on the scarcity, not on the struggle. So all of this leads to the victim card and getting rid of that victim mentality, not seeing yourself as a victim constantly. And I get it. We've all had hard things happen. You might very well have been a victim of something. But the key is to learn how to work through that so that you could become someone else that you want to be. And if you're a victim, if you're stuck in that mentality, you're not going to move forward. Okay. You're going to stay stuck. But, all these cards together are telling me you need to learn how to break through these mentalities, get rid of these bad habits, sort of figure out what it is that you need and give yourself that, but also not coddling yourself, not being on the other side of the coin, constantly needing comfort and security to function, right? So I hope that helped you. We're going to be back next week, but you'll be able to see this whole thing on the ADHDtarot.substack.com. And you can also subscribe there, where I offer monthly tarot readings for zodiac signs. So your specific zodiac signs get some mini reading every month, as well as a collective monthly reading for everybody. And we offer a lot for free. So 95% of it is free, but the paid stuff has a lot to offer. So check it out. Okay. Have a good week, everyone.